Hello everyone. Today in this session we are going to discuss about test command. So test command. So this is a built-in shell command that evaluates the expression given to it as an argument and returns true if the evaluation of the expression returns 0 and false if the evaluation returns non-zero. So what is this? This is a command. This is a built-in shell command. What this command, test command will do, it evaluates, it checks the expression. It checks the expression for a given argument and it returns true if the evaluation of the expression returns 0. If it is non-zero, so it returns false. The test command provides a way to test different conditions in an if-then statement. If the condition listed in the test command evaluates to true, the test command exits within 0, exit status code, making the if-then statement behave in much the same way that then if then the statement work in other programming language. If the condition is false, the test command exit with a 1 which causes that if then statement to fail. The format of the test command is pretty simple. So it's like test condition. The condition is a series of parameter and values that test the command evaluates. Types of shell. When used in an if then statement, the test commands looks like this. If test condition, then commands fi. The bash shell provides an alternative way to declaring the test command in an if-then statement, that is if condition then commands closing the if statement. Fi. The square bracket defines the conditions that is used in the test command. Be careful, you must have a space after first bracket and space before the last of the second bracket, that is after bracket space before closing the bracket space, and you will get an error message if you did not give the space. The expression would be simple, such as testing two numbers for equality, or complex like testing several commands that are connected together using logical operators. This command can be used directly using keyword test or indirectly by using the square brackets. For example, these following two statements are equivalent. So consider this: if test that pure answer code that is equals to this. So this is same as this statement. Instead of this test, we are using square bracket. That's it. As seen in the above two example, the use of square brackets instead of the keyword test is a shortcut method. The shortcut method for the test command is using the square brackets instead of the keyword text. Whenever square brackets are used, one blank must be used between them and test expression. More than one condition can be tested by connecting them together using logical operators such as A, logical AND operator A, logical OR operator O, logical NOT operator, this exclamation symbol. With this command, the following types of tests are carried out. So we can do three types of test: file test, string test, and numeric test. So the test command text file attributes, string comparison, numeric comparison, and this test command returns 0 if test is true and non-zero otherwise. So the syntax is like this: test condition, used if statement, and those. The shell provides the test command to check a condition if 0 if the condition is true and non-zero if the condition is false. The test command provides a mechanism for checking file attributes and performing string and numeric comparisons. It has general syntax, test condition. For example, the test condition to check a file if a file exists is. So test file, so this is the name of the condition, and the test is the most often used with if statements. It always used in the if statement to check the condition to evaluate the expression. If statement and loops, for example, so consider this example, here we'll use this. If test file, then copy this file, else the file does not exist. Next, test syntax. The argument provided to test can be a shell variable or a literal string. There must be at least one space between the test command, the operator and the argument. The test command does not check that its arguments are valid. For example, you can perform numeric tests on string value. So test will produce an error if a required argument is missing. Most often this happens when an unset shell variable is used in the test statement. Testing file attribute. Test f file. So the file exists is a regular file. Some of the attributes. These are some of the attributes. This D is used to check. It means the exist is a directory. The R means the file exist is a readable file. W means the file exist is a writable file. X means the file exists and is in a executable mode. File S means the file exists and has a size greater than 0. The file above actually refers to any file system object, example file, directory, named pipe, block, special devices, etc. Write a shell script called file type which take a single argument and determine if it is a file or directory or other, in which case it exists. If a file, it printouts if it is readable, writable and executable. If a directory, it prints out if it is readable, writable and searchable. More test. For example, so this negation symbol, this not symbol, it is what is the exclamation symbol that is used to test the negation operation. A is used for logical and operation. O is used for logical or operation. The parenthesis, this is for parenthesis. The square brackets is used for alternating the, it is used for alternating test syntax. That is, instead of the square brackets we can instead of the keyword text we can use the square bracket with the spaces. Negation. Unlike the shell, the text command has the negation operator to invert the sense of the text. The alternative test syntax. So I already explained there is an alternative way of writing the test command using the square bracket. The word test is replaced by the square bracket and the condition is terminated by a square bracket. So an equivalent statement to check a shell script that has one argument is, so for example this one argument, so we can, instead of test we can give square bracket. Next, so I already told we have three types of tests. Those are file test, string test and numeric test. First we'll see file test. File tests are conducted for checking the status of the files and the directories. Why the file tests are conducted? It is conducted to check the status of the file, whether the file is open, that is if you want to that is in a executable mode, whatever it may be. In order to check the condition of this file and the directory, will use the file test. Using these tests, one can find out the type of file and permission granted and not granted to it. So below is the, so these are the list of different file tests that could be performed using the test command along with their meanings. The test exit status. E file true if file exists. E means, so if it is true, then file exists. If F is true, then file exists and is a regular file. R file is true if this command is true, if file exists and it is readable. W file if it is true, then when it will be true if the file exists and it is readable, writable. When this X file command will true if file exists and it is in executable mode. When this D file is true if file exists is a directory, exist and it is a directory. C file, when this file is true when if file exists and is a character special file. B file is true if file exists and is a blocked special file. H file is true if file exists and is a link file. S file it is true if file exists has size greater than 0. So these are the some test exist status of a file test. So the test command file comparisons, same T, E, F, already we have studied all these things. R, S, W, X, D for directory, file exist. So this is for check the file. This means the file is readable, file is not empty, file is writable, file is executable. O means file is owned by a current user. G, we don't know this. It checks if the file exists and default group is the same as the current user. It checks that. And file 1 NT file 2. That means it checks if the file 1 is newer than the file 2. File 1 OT file 2. It checks if the file 1 is older than the file 2. File comparison. The last category of the type test comparisons is quite possibly that most powerful and most used comparisons in shell scripting. The test command allows you to check the test the status of the file and directory in the Linux file system. The table below lists these comparisons. So we already done that. These conditions give you the ability to check the file in your file system within your shell scripts. Since they are not used so much, let's look at these individually, checking the directory. D checks if the specified file name exists as a directory on the system. It is usually a good thing to do if you are trying to write a file or to a directory or being you try to change a location. For example, you consider this example, we'll see only the condition. So if D home, it is going to check the, so this is the, instead of test keyword we have used a square bracket. In this code it uses D test condition to see if the home directory exists for the user. If it does not does, it proceeds to use the command to change cd command to change to home directory and performs a directory listings. Checking an if objects, so the E comparison allows you to check if the file directory exists before you attempt to use it in a script. So in the second example, so you are going to check same E exists, the file exists and it is exists, that you are going to check. So okay, then on directory now let's check the file, creating a new file. So okay on the directory, now let's check the file, appending date to existing file. The first check uses the comparison to determine if the user has a home directory. If so, the next comparison checks to determine if the test file exists in the home directory. If the file does not exist, the shell script uses single greater than redirect symbol, creating a new file with output from the date command. The second time you run the shell script, it uses the double greater than symbol, so it just appends the date of output to the existing file. So this is about this session. So in this session we have discussed about what is a test command and what is the format and syntax of the test commands, and what are all the types of the tests are there: single string file test, string test and numeric test, and how can we alternative method of test syntax, test file attributes and alternative method of test syntax, and file test we have discussed in this session. So remaining string test and numeric test will study in the next session. So this is about this session. Thank you.